Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome you back to ShoutCraft America, and this will be the final match of the round of 4. One of these guys is going to have to get on a plane and go to New York. The other will leave with $1,000 plus tips plus the adoration of the community, which is not a bad way to go out, but regardless, New York's pretty cool. It's a nice place to visit. It's expensive, there's too much traffic, but it's a nice place to play a little bit of Starcraft. So, we have two players. They're going to be engaging in a PvP in a best of 7, which can be a trying experience for everybody, I know that, so a lot of respect for going into this one. Here we are, Chad motherfucking Jones, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks, glad to be here.
Excellent. Now, you've had some pretty interesting games in this particular tournament. You've had some pretty close stuff as well, and it's been really fun to actually watch you play. Now, I've got to ask, after going through in second place, I wouldn't say you squeaked by in your group, but it definitely wasn't an easy ride for you. And then you went into the round of 8, and you had to face off against Drunken Boy. You pulled the most ridiculous reverse sweep that I have seen. Like, Drunken Boy was pulling out these absurd strategies. Idra's mind was actually exploding. It was amazing to watch. There was brain matter everywhere. He actually pulled a double Raven opening against what he thought that you would do, and he shut you down completely. And then, suddenly, you find your feet and you come back with a solid, convincing 3-0 reverse sweep. How on earth did you pull that off?
After the first 2 games, I played really, really badly. Like, I know he's the type of player to, you know, do drops and stuff. And I knew he was going to do it, so I was trying to prepare for it, but I don't know what happened. Like, my control groups got messed up. I didn't see them on the minimap, even though I was looking for them. Just everything went wrong. But I tried to keep my spirits up because I thought I could beat him in standard games. So if I could just not flat out die to the drops, I could probably win. And that's pretty much what happened in the next 3 games.
Yeah, and you did a great job, and as a result, you are here facing off against a man that was not so much predicted to lose his group, but definitely not predicted to sweep it in the way that he did, and that is, of course, Ryan Visbeck, aka State. Welcome back to the show.
Hey.
Now, how are you feeling after engaging in a PvP in the round of 8 going into this against someone that is known for, let's just kindly say, non-standard builds?
I don't know, I'm really uncomfortable when I play against Hello Kitty just because he's kind of like everywhere at once, you never know what he's doing.
Yeah.
But Minigun's a lot more standard, so I think the games will be a lot more entertaining. I'm looking forward to it.
We will play Count the Dark Shrine in this series, and we'll see whether or not it is able to go over the limits.
Might be more than 7.
It might be, yeah, it might. It very well might. That PvP was... Considering we had a really rough day, that PvP was comical enough for us to round out the day in fine style, I think. This time around, though, it's on the line, it's serious. Minigun, of course, you are a seasoned tournament player. You haven't had the chance to go to that many live events for many reasons that, of course, your fans know. You were able to attend MLG Dallas, but unfortunately got, like, the worst luck of the draw possible in your first game against the eventual winner of the tournament, which is definitely nothing to be ashamed of. Now you're playing in an online event that is very much American-focused, and I have to ask, what do you have to say to your fans that have supported you over the last couple of years?
Just thanks for following me, watching my stream, cheering me on. It's much appreciated, and I do listen to all of it, even if I don't reply to every single comment.
Now, State, you have been out of the scene for a little bit of time, and you've popped back up again. You were known as being a very strong player in Wings of Liberty, but then you fell off the map a bit. I believe that was because you decided to dedicate time to school. Is that correct?
Yeah, I took, after I came back from Korea in December, I took 3 months off to focus on school. And I came back for WCS when it was announced.
Indeed. Now you're back in full force. Do you think the Korean trip actually helped you out an awful lot?
I think it would have helped a lot more if I kept playing, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a really good life experience, and I think I improved a lot when I was there.
Excellent. All right, Minigun, I'd like to hear your thoughts on State. You guys will no doubt at some point run into each other on ladder every now and again. So how are you feeling about your PvP versus State right now?
I was actually really hoping Hello Kitty would win because I have a really, really good win rate against him. But against State, I think it's pretty bad, actually, if I'm remembering correctly.
It's not that bad. It's like 50-50.
No, it's not. But I prepared a little bit, a few builds, but I don't know. We'll see. I guess anything can happen.
It's pretty much impossible to bring BM out of the both of you, especially when you're in the same place. What is it about Protoss? I couldn't even get BM out of Hello Kitty yesterday. And, you know, that's like saying when you squeeze an orange, no juice comes out. It's ridiculous. Like, Hello Kitty was super respectful to you, State. Is there some kind of Protoss brotherhood that I don't know about?
We have a hard enough time on ladder as it is. So, I mean,
Yeah, I guess. After Wings of Liberty, PvZ, it's just like, we're in it together.
Oh man, well, one of you will get the chance to play Heart of the Swarm PvZ. I've got to ask just a nice piece of information here, since you're definitely not going to be insulting each other. Minigun, what do you reckon to Heart of the Swarm PvZ?
I actually prefer the old Wings of Liberty style. I'm having a lot of trouble with mutas right now. So
I bet you wish you had Spore Crawlers, right?
yeah, or Marines would work too, but yeah.
Now, State, what is your opinion? Because, you know, you expressed very much the idea that Wings PvZ was just horrible, and having cast about 5,000 of them, I would lean on the side of your opinion there. So, what do you reckon to your Protoss versus Zerg right now?
I think PvZ is a lot more balanced now than it was in Wings of Liberty. I'm just really bad at it. I haven't had the time to adjust to HOTS PvZ, so
Okay.
I don't know.
Right.
It'll take a lot of preparation if I do make it to the finals.
Well, you won't have a lot of time to do that, but at least you don't have to get on a plane from a different country. Kane is already sorting his flight out right now, and I guess it's not too much of a trek. Yeah, it's Canada. It's America's hat. It's fine. So, Minigun, I've got to ask, do you have any words for State today's going to this matchup?
Just good luck, have fun.
State?
When I first started playing Wings of Liberty, it was Minigun's posts on BattleNet with guides that really like started me off in learning how to play. So it's really cool to play him in ShoutCraft.
Aw, that's adorable.
Aww.
Now kill each other.
That's like a really sweet end to that. I mean, that began with a lot of potential. Like, I used to read his guides, but now that I know how to play, the guides are shit. I gotta win. You know, like.
No, it helped a lot, and I appreciate that.
Day9 with the proxy BM there. Great build to see how
right.
it pays off for him. All right, guys.
This is Day9's edition of the BM that could have been. Please in a good manner.
Bloody Protoss. All right, guys, to your stations. I know, State, you need a minute, so we will talk a little bit about this matchup as we go in. Well, Sean, thank you for that. Very much appreciated. Getting State to BM anyone is extremely difficult. So, you know, as Minigun has a reputation, but funnily enough, he's like one of those mana people there is. He's this ultimate badass that upon approaching his enemy that he knows is going to gun down in cold blood, he'll apologize for it prior to doing it. I mean, he could be a proxy Canadian.
Proxy Canadian! Oh my god. This is an interesting strategy, TotalBiscuit. It looks like he's hiding proxy Canadians in the corner. Right when his opponent is getting ready to drone, he's going to be blown away at the amount of apologies at his front door.
The team will be sponsored by Tim Hortons. It'll be wonderful. Oh, god damn it. Okay. Well, this is definitely a hard one to call. I would probably call it in favor of State, because what we saw yesterday against a very unpredictable Protoss versus Protoss opponent, I mean, just a very unpredictable anything versus Protoss opponent, he was so solid, incredibly so. He got caught out like once, and then he was just all over him, and he played this great style. He follows up with the double forge play, again, something that I don't normally see, but it opens up this really nasty but safe way to play where you just can't lose. You've already beaten the cheese, now you have 1-1, and now you just roll over him, and that's how State plays.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see like the stretch builds from State. Not crazy, kooky, unorthodox, like, whoa, never gonna see that one again, but like, I wonder what are opportunities for me to go for double forge and that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And Minigun, I don't have a lot of experience watching his PvP, not in HOTS. And PvP is so up in the air now because there are so many different ways you can now play it. And unless your name is Alicia, most people haven't adapted to it yet.
Yeah, I mean, just sneaking in a plug for Alicia there.
Well, you know, he's got like a 97% win rate in PvP. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, well, so the big concerns in this matchup are the following. First of all, not a 4-gate. The reason 4 gates were particularly strong is because I could arrive at your base with 1 Stalker and 1 Zealot, and if you went Zealot Sentry, I can actually break your front.
Yeah.
I can just, with those 2 units. But with the Mothership Core, Zealot Sentry Mothership Core beats Zealot Stalker, even with trying to target down the probe initially. So 4 gates are essentially removed. The big concerns that people are really having is 3-gate plus Mothership Core pressure with Stalkers. That's very common. Fast DT rushes, Oracle play, Phoenixes, Blink, Robo expand, 1-gate expand. The number of build orders that are available in this matchup in the opening are astoundingly big. Therefore, it's not as much about scouting in this matchup. It's about aggression. It's about cleverly timed attacks that force your opponent into certain responses, and we'll be seeing a lot of that in this series.
That we will. Alright, let's see what happens. So, there's not really a lot you can read into this initially. You see a very, very close to the chest placement of the pylon here from this player, who is in the red trunks, to the southeast position. You thought I'd forgotten, didn't you? TotalBiscuit never forgets. It is State versus his opponent to the northwest position. He wants to make this an all-root final. Can he have that happen? Does he have the power in the blue trunks playing Protoss? He is ROOTMinigun. Now, pylon placement by State. Like, I would love to say that I could read a huge amount into it, but I can't. Is there even anything to read here?
There are some little things where, in any PvP, the most important thing is that you have good defense against proxy gates. That's the first big question that you want to make sure you address. State, okay, going for the double gas, very typical, but we see here that this pylon placement has 2 sides covered.
Yep.
So it means it's quite difficult to get a good angle on it. But I don't like that second pylon placement. It means you're a little more vulnerable to the proxies. Both players actually not double pyloning the gateway. Miniguns, on the other hand, this little slit behind is very, very useful to micro behind. I actually think that that's very important to just have a slit of size 1. Because, you know, if you imagine pulling Stalkers back through there versus Zealots, you just have an automatically amazing position.
Yeah. Now, State, what we have noticed in his games in this particular tournament is that he is a big SimCity fan. And I suppose EA will be very happy about that, because no one else likes the bloody thing. But he is the kind of player that likes to place his buildings very deliberately, and has on more than one occasion been able to use them to his advantage in a defensive position.
Yes, I mean, like, SimCity is actually so significant in this matchup. I mean, for instance, this third pylon that we're seeing from State does get a little bit of vision coverage in case there is some sort of Stargate pressure coming in, and it generally does come in at about this angle. But also, it's going to allow you to do warp-ins at the front should you need be doing that. And State's got to be going for the fast Nexus play here. That's the only possible answer. Minigun is going to be going 3 Stalker defensive with Mothership Core. Very, very aggressive play. So it's going to be aggro versus defo.
Yep. Always a good thing to have happen, and State is most likely going to do just that. Moves forward the single sentry there. He'll need just a little bit more than that to hold what's coming at him. And there we go. We're going to see the Nexus. So if we get a go... Oh, and a Stargate for Minigun. All right. Okay. Fancy. I saw this yesterday, actually. There was some pretty crazy stuff going on. Hello Kitty's, like, only successful game. He played this exact same style against State, and he actually used an Oracle. He built 2 of them. He backstabbed with 1 to do 8 probes worth of damage. He then used an Oracle to kill all 3 sentries at the ramp. Because it turns out, sentries are really bad at not dying to Oracles.
Yes, yeah. I mean, this actually, I'm looking at State's base. Getting the 3rd gateway is one of the key linchpins to be able to defend against this. State's cleverly moving around with his Mothership Core, trying to spot proxy pylons. He should be able to check this one up on the top, and there he does see it.
Yep, that's always nice to see. So he gets the information on that. He knows an angle, but of course there will be another one. There's the Oracle. Has Minigun learned from the Master, the Chinese, is it Guru? I guess it wouldn't be. Chinese Grandmaster, whatever it's called, Hello Kitty. The man who is the holder of the Chinese Brain Trust, who trains with the Chinese players who...
Uh-oh.
Oh, let's see where it goes.
Okay, so this is exactly what we were talking about before. Minigun is going to apply a little bit of pressure. There's the photon overcharge. Look at that sensational timing, picking it off. It is good to lose the mothership core here because you can rebuild it and it will have 50 energy.
Yes.
Very, very odd sort of thought process, but very strong. This is a disaster for Minigun right now. He's going to have to recall out of there.
Man, if State had focused that mothership core down, he could have stopped that recall. That mothership was on 18 hit points. It would have most likely died, but that was unfortunate. Oh well, as you said, it was a great defense by State. It was still bad for Minigun. It's just slightly less bad. And here comes the Oracle backstab that I'm talking about, and the second Oracle to follow that one up.
This is exactly why you do the push. It forces your opponent not to be playing anti-air, not to be playing Observer Scout. Forces them to build that Immortal, completely useless in this circumstance. I actually don't think that the Immortal will have much utility for much of the game if Minigun transitions into something like Void Ray or Zealot Archon.
Yeah.
Very common to not see Colossus in Heart of the Swarm.
Yes, very much so. Now, State was able to take significantly less damage than he did to Hello Kitty pulling this very same build yesterday. You know that the hilarious thing about Immortal is Oracles actually effectively deal with Hardened Shield ridiculously well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the damage output just comes in those hyper-fast bursts. So, I mean, everything dies to Immortals, or to Oracles quickly, but Oracles also die quickly.
Yep. Those may have noticed that for some reason we've just gone Baby Knight style 4x3, that the window did not lock size, so I'm attempting to fix that right now. Please do give me a little bit of time to try and resolve this. In the meantime, we're trying to keep an eye on what's going on here. Force fields failed. The Oracles into the where exactly?
Into the natural expansion.
Yeah,
Looks like he's going to be... Has
Couple
done a little bit of damage. Ooh, not in a good spot, but
Nope.
very fast and finds a nice little hiding position. Second Oracle moving on in. Now, Minigun is going for the more traditional style, which is to get up Robo. He should be instant double gassing, instant Robo Bay, to try to get up as many Colossus as possible. He is getting the Observer. There's the instant double gas. You should be getting the Bay up very, very quickly, but the goal for Minigun right now is to get 2 Robos and just have so many more Colossi up that he just crushes. And oh no! Another strike from the Oracle into the main.
A little bit more damage being done here. Number of workers killed is 12 total. That's a big deal. Minigun has a significant lead in that regard right now. And in a mirror, that matters double what it would in any other matchup.
Well, we still haven't seen a tech transition from Minigun. The Twilight Council traditionally is Blink. It looks like he will be getting Blink, but you don't really want more than 8 or 9 Stalkers. Beyond that, you don't have any utility. You're obviously not going to be harassing with the Blink Stalkers. You need to stay home defending. And Stalkers are terrible at maxed armies. They are the Roach of Protoss versus Protoss.
Definitely. No question about that. You definitely want those more cost-effective units that can actually just deal more damage in those good situations.
Well, there's a Dark Shrine going down from State.
Yep.
Looks like people are experiencing some lag spikes.
Okay. It may very well be... I don't know if this happens. It may very well be me readjusting the window. As I said, the window actually ended up at 4x3, so I've been attempting to fix it. That might be causing it. So we'll see. We'll try again, and we will see whether or not that's resolved. I certainly hope so. I just... that was the last thing that could have possibly gone wrong. Aside from my computer being set on fire, I can't see any other way for this to go wrong now. It's just, that's it. I'll fix the rest of it after this game. You're going to have a couple of tiny little black bars to the side. I've mostly fixed it, but we'll see whether or not that is the case. I'm doing my best, guys. I'm so sorry. It turns out that StarCraft does not lock its resolution when you're in windowed mode, which I did not know, and a slight slip-up involved me being in a box where I don't
I've done that exact thing before. I have many times when doing a daily accidentally moved the window, and all of a sudden I'm casting like a 5x4 window, and I'm like, that's a 5 by what window?
It's like, yeah, this is not what I was aiming for. This was a pretty bad thing indeed. But, you know, that was my... You know, I can feel good about that mistake, because that was my mistake within my control. I can take full responsibility for this. Now, guess what State's got? He's got Double Forge.
I like this, you know. This is not as much a cross some fingers, let's go sort of thing. This is much more just an interesting build order decision. I'm going to be defending because there's 2 Oracles harassing me. I have to get Blink to assist with that defense. How can I make use of this? One way to do that is to get Dark Templar out. I have the ability to do harassment for high damage output for low mineral and gas investment. And then, of course, if I'm sitting at home defending, may as well get double forward so I have something juicy to defend.
Yeah, certainly. And now he's going to go into a Dark Templar drop from this position. Pretty good. Colossus is on the way. Where is Minigun's Observer? It is right where it needs to be, is the direct answer to that. He has one exactly where it needs to be. Third base is now coming down. The drop's going to come in. This is going to get spotted pretty quickly, and we'll see what kind of damage he can do.
Oh my god, the DT got in! 2 DTs in the main. There is an observer there, but it looks like the DT at the natural expansion was whiffed.
Ooh, that is unfortunate, and it's doing damage. It's already got 4 kills here, and Minigun's kind of trying to surround the position. He is bringing the Observer in now, so it's going to get cleaned up. That is a risky place to put your Mothership Core. He warps in, not Mothership Core, sorry, Warp Prism. Warps in yet another, gets the pickup here. That Warp Prism will get out. Oh, and that was a nice little move right there. Although he does lose the DT for the Stalker, which is maybe not the best trade in the world. The Warp Prism will get out of there. All right. 5 workers killed. Not a cost-effective engagement.
Okay, so this is upcoming going to be a very difficult battle for Minigun. No, excuse me, for State.
Okay.
So Minigun is building up a lot of Colossi. Normally we would see the second Robo facility there. Minigun is actually favoring quite a high number of gateways in this position, higher than is typical. Generally it's like around 5 gateways, sometimes 4, but definitely the double Robo production. State style, though, is essentially going to be Zealot Archon Immortal, with really thin, careful control.
Another Oracle Strike. Very nice. There's the blink, it takes it out, but that's more workers killed. 16 now to 5. That is still... Minigun's actually behind. There it is. More damage being done. Nice little pull there to the side, brings his Blink Stalkers in play. Despite the fact that oracles are made of paper, these guys are doing a pretty good job right now. What I'd like to see from this oracle, actually, is maybe... Oh, feedback! That was unfortunate. That's one of the highest energy oracles I've ever seen, and apparently that's why I don't have high energy oracles.
Oh, man, this is a tough spot to be in for State. I mean, so State's finally said, okay, no more harassment. Time to make more use out of these stalkers, or not just defensive tools. Let's get them out there. I have Blink. My opponent almost certainly doesn't. There's the second Robo facility from Minigun. Yeah. So State is going to try to overwhelm his opponent. He's going to try to... You know, it's kind of like what you would do in old school ZVP, where you do the first round of Ling Roach, and then you try to win with the second wave. Yeah. That's what's happening here. It's a style that we call the 300 food Protoss. State's trying to win by getting a big replenishment round to follow it up. So it's so difficult to get the Immortals in the right position with this Warp Prism micro that State likes to do. Yeah.
Now, what he does have in his favor is, of course, his upgrade. He's going to have 2-2 versus 1-1, but the Colossi will negate that fairly effectively. Nice little blink just to kind of work on the front a little bit, then pick out of there. It's not really too much of an investment one way or the other, but this game is starting to get really tense. State has done a good job catching up, regardless of the kind of damage that he's taken. Army supply-wise is incredibly even, and we are seeing Colossus Tech versus Immortal Storm Tech.
Yeah, it's going to be storm drops, a lot of positioning, a lot of trying to get engagements with Minigun before maxed. That's where you'll have the biggest utility, because we're going to start to see State's supply surpass Miniguns. And here's little engagements hitting both sides. This is an almost impossibly difficult tactical engagement. The Stormers have to be so careful.
Yes, they do. It would have been nice to see the Stalkers used for that, but he used the Stalkers to draw his army out of position. Really, if you want to take down that gateway and be in a good spot to fight in, you've got to just pick it off with the Stalkers. You can't go in there with Zealots. They'll get melted before they're able to actually take the gateways down. Those Colossi will do a great job of that. We're seeing double Stargate coming in here from State.
Love it. Tempest transition, extremely strong. Looks like the Dark Templar drop for State in the main as well.
Yep, he is heading in, but it's already been intercepted there by the Phoenixes. That is probably not going to do much at all. He deploys and loses all 3.
A little bit of lack of focus there. There's the Warp Prism from Minigun trying to find an angle in.
Yep, keeping an eye on it right now. That's where it is. State's got plenty of Stalkers in place. However, he does not have an Observer with them. There's the quick pickup. It's a 4 DT drop. It's been immediately seen now. Oh no, disastrous!
Oh!
Well, Minigun says, anything you can do, I can do worse.
Wow, Void Ray transition from State. Looks like he's desperate to get something up because he's
Fleet
aware.
Coming down. So we will see that Tempest that you called there earlier.
Very strong play. We saw SOS do this very effectively in Pro League against pretty much every Protoss he plays against Tempest. It's just an unbelievably good answer to Colossus.
Who will win the Zealot battle? It will be Minigun by luck of the draw. And a quick engagement there by State results in the derpiest charge I've ever seen from those. They just kind of run out of steam about halfway through the map. A nice pick off of the Observer, though. Like to see that.
Wow, 3-3 done virtually for State.
Yeah.
2-2 also done for Minigun. Minigun answering this double ups with double ups in kind. I actually think that the Tempests are going to be the big key here.
Yeah.
Tempests are going to be the tipping force. We're already seeing that this fourth base. Ooh, that fourth base from State is actually very late. I actually thought it was done a long time ago, but I guess I just can't count. Uh-oh. DT's at the natural, or at the third base from State.
Yeah, we can see it right there, doing a significant amount of damage, taking out a couple of units, and the drops coming in here as well. Minigun is dropping into the main and just immediately splats the photon cannon, which, as it turns out, is absolutely terrible at getting hit. And he's now going to work on what is otherwise kind of an exhausted mineral line, but it does draw his opponent back, which gives Minigun a chance to start to get into position. His Colossus count is at silly, which is also translated to in the English language 8.
Ugh, but he doesn't have a lot of anti-air. He's going to have to morph in Stalkers, which are already not good because there's 5 Immortals out right now for State.
Yep.
State should just be very careful, engage this very cautiously, very simply.
Yep. There's only a couple of Tempests, so it's going to take a long time for this to happen, and those Zealots are going to die almost immediately, especially... Oh, big storm goes down. Will there be any follow-up from that? They're trying desperately to get through the time warp here.
State is going to absolutely slaughter this. The Immortals out the front, tearing down the Colossus. Welcome to Hop's PvP Minigun. State providing the introduction. The fourth base will fall for State, but all those Colossi are getting ripped to shreds. Storms going down willy-nilly. But, I mean, the real danger for State now is that he has 41 workers.
Yes, and as a direct result, Minigun has a huge economic lead over him. Unless State is able to make this army work right now, he could end up in a horrible position. Another run-by comes in. State responds with Dart Templar. He will be able to save the natural, which is always a good thing to see indeed. But Minigun, Minigun did lose a Colossus army that is going to take forever to rebuild on one Robo. Minigun's actually throwing Void Rays of his own into the mix here. So State is now in a position where he's got to... I mean, taking a base away from his opponent right now would be a really good thing for State, because he's still behind. Yeah, I think State actually forgot about this War Prism down at the left side expansion. State's starting to cross mid-map in the current unit count. We see that there's 3 Colossus and really not a lot else. There's a big pack of Zealots, but I don't think that's actually going to be that useful versus this force that we see out of State that has a lot of good anti-Zealot stuff. And, oh, see ya later, extra base. And what a nice engagement for State. That army is just stuck in all the wrong places. Yeah, the reinforcements are getting cut off by the Dart Templar. The cannons are being engaged right here. And now, here come the Tempests trying to knock that down. Big storms come down. Archons don't really care so much about storms, and Immortals are not exactly the best answer either. But State is looking like he's going to be able to crack through this Minigun. GG's! Fun style out of State. I mean, Minigun just follows up with traditional, classic, standard Protoss versus Protoss, Colossus. Speed Zealots, all that jazz. Not State, man. State following straight up with a weird Zealot Archon double forge into Tempest, big Immortal, Storm drops, DTs drops. Really cool style. I love it. It is a sexy style indeed. And that was a fun PvP to start us off. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Alright guys, we're going to take a quick break while I fix the resolution and eliminate these black bars for you. Once again, you have my apologies. Because, good lord. It's like, what else could possibly go wrong? We will find out after this break. Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome back to what I like to call the House of Disaster. Oh, baby, baby, baby. Okay, Game 2, Whirlwind. Well, this could go on for a while. Minigun and Puck actually had, I think, quite the game on this map that lasted about 40 minutes. Yeah, Whirlwind's a hard map to actually close out. I do think that State's style is vastly superior to Minigun's on this, well, let me be more specific. This Gateway plus Stargate unit style is vastly superior to a Robo-based style on this map. There's just so many angles, and we saw how in the mid-game State was way on Minigun's side of the map safely for a majority of the time. Yeah, absolutely correct. Let's see how it goes. Minigun is going to have to break something out here. I'm intrigued to see what kind of builds will be put into play, and once again, we see State's double forge style being vindicated repeatedly. Like, every time he does this, he has won in this tournament. So, I am very impressed by it so far. I think it's a great, safe, but intelligent transition.
Yeah, I mean, it's the sort of thing that you have to see the right window to be able to take advantage of it. But it's not a particularly complicated window either. It's just, oh, my opponent is focusing on defense. He's taking his third. Oh, he's... I see him starting his second robo. No attack would be coming soon. Those are the sort of timings you're looking for.
All right, let's see if he can pull that one off again. Or if Minigun has something else up his sleeve. His opponent is to the northwest position. He's currently at 1 game in this best of 7 series. Looking to try and make his way to New York, which would be, to be fair, a brilliant result for someone that has been out of the scene for quite some time. He is
State
versus his opponent to the southwest position. In the blue trunks, playing Protoss, looking for an all-route final. He is
ROOTMinigun.
Let's analyze pylon placements with Day9.
Hello, I'm Day9, the pylon placement master. Same thing as last time. ROOTMinigun, keeping those slits, so that way he has these nice micro positions. State, also very standard-looking positioning. If there is some sort of aggressive rush, he has the pylon semi-protected. Should likely be planting his second pylon to be able to power the gateway. I'm always so leery of like having a second pylon away. It's so easy to lose and so unnecessary to plant it that far away.
Certainly. We've got both the gas taken. State putting only 2 probes into gas. This is ridiculously common these days in this matchup, I tend to find, or even in any matchup. They love to throw down the second gas, but only put 2 probes in each.
Yeah, it's the sort of thing where you have around 175 gas or so when the core is done. If you start doing rally-ins, like the way that State's doing. The way that State's actually rallied in, he should have almost exactly 200 gas when that core is done, which means that he can then go Mothership Core, Stalker, and Warp Gate. And there he's returned back to rallying. 13 probes on the minerals is pretty common. And it's just, if we actually just focus on State's base, you can just see this really sexy distribution. Yeah, right as that finishes, there's a... oh, he's actually going Sentry and Core. But still, I want you to envision for a moment that he went Stalker instead. He could get a Mothership Core.
It's in my mind. Yep. That's cool. Well, the Mothership Core will be following up pretty quickly. Of course, the gas requirement of the Sentry will delay that slightly. He's currently building yet another probe, so he is delaying that core right now. Whereas his opponent is grabbing his core and putting the second gateway down. So we're seeing a very similar opening here from Minigun. A second Sentry being added from State, which is again... There's the Mothership Core. Alright.
He's trying to time this because if you start the Nexus the same instant that the Mothership Core finishes, then it means that you will have 100 energy on the Mothership Core right when that Nexus is done. So with this current rate, the Nexus finishes and the Mothership Core will be at like 96 energy. So a few seconds pass and boom, Photon Overcharge.
Attempted scout by State does not see the Twilight Council. He does see the 2 gateways. He does see the Stalker count. Useful information to have. The Twilight Council, on the other hand, would have been even better. So there's a couple of ways that this could go down. We could see a Dark Shrine come down, but it seems like it's more likely that we will see Blink.
I think it's DT. It should be DT here. It's kind of weird to... Okay, he's going Blink. This sort of push that's going to happen, first Minigun's going to pop up with a whole bunch of dudes, force State into using a Photon Overcharge now, and then, in theory, do a lot of damage with this Blink. But because he's going Blink, I'm actually a fan of not getting a third gateway. And there he goes.
Never mind. Everything that you're a fan of today, he is going to do the exact opposite of because he's a dick.
Well, I mean, part of it is being a dick, but I mean, the other part is I'm trying to think about where his edge is going to be. There's the Oracle popping out right now. So see, here's the Photon Overcharge. Oh my God, get it! Oh,
there we go.
That was so close.
All right, it's even contributing to the fight right here. The force field placement was pretty good. The Sentry Micro exceptional here, and that was held.
That was a very close fight. Now, see, This is the same push that happened last game. What did it force? It forced an Immortal to go down. Okay, now that you have the Immortal down, you've forced your opponent into... now you have the Immortal down, your opponent's going Blink Stalkers. Like, you forced him to go for Immortals, and now you're building units that Immortals are good against. I mean, if you're State, you're just going to go, oh, well, I guess I'm just going to go Stalker Immortal.
I wonder if... I was going to say, I wonder if it's a mind game and State decides not to build the second Immortal, and then, you know, one Immortal is pretty easily killed off by an aggressive Blink. But with the second Immortal coming out, State's in a pretty good position to hold this. The only thing he doesn't really have going for him is a Photon Overcharge. He also needs to watch out if he gets caught into a bad Time Warp position. That would be really bad indeed. There's the Time Warp. Down goes the Mothership Core before a second Time Warp is available. And again, that was held pretty well. And the second Immortal's going to be out now.
Yeah, the Time Warp only has so much efficiency if you have Force Fields out, because, I mean... You're gonna run away, but then there's gonna be the force field.
Blink
This is
right
a
on top of the
terrible
Immortal.
move. Oh, a terrible blink up by Minigun. Total desperation. I'm completely lost and baffled as to why he did this. I mean, this build that State does is very clearly designed to deal with blink.
Yeah, it certainly is. And yeah, okay, you can blink up and take an Immortal out. Great, but you should know there's a second Immortal coming, and the third one will be on the way. This follow-up attack is weak sauce in every possible respect. Minigun
It's a good
GGs.
game.
Yeah.
A very confusing
sort
game.
Of. Yeah, I mean, I would, you know, for the mana's sake, I'd definitely call it a good game, but State played absolutely the way he should have, and Minigun made a really odd choice, I think.
You know, I feel like this is one of those examples that would suit a StarCraft textbook really well, to say, aha, the early expand PvP build with Sentries and Mothership Core. Situation A, holding off Blink Stalkers. Ta-da! I mean, if you're maybe doing that opening, you know, if you're maybe doing Blink Stalkers on Cloud Kingdom, that can make a little more sense to me, because a push at the front's not working. Oh, no big deal. I'll blink up into your main base. You know, there's alternative locations for those Blink Stalkers. But I was like, I was absolutely baffled.
Well, I mean, you were convinced he would go DT, and to be fair, you know, my call was just out of blind luck and coin flipping. Your call would have been correct. Because DT would have been a better answer. Not the best answer, because of course you're still dealing with the fact that he has a Robo down, but better than that. I think the only situation where that works is if you can somehow pick those sentries off, and he's not quite ready for that. But he wasn't able to, and the sentries played a huge role in that. And
you know,
sorry, go ahead.
What I thought was going to happen is that you go DT, you first apply the Stalker pressure, boom, Photon Overcharge out. You don't kill the Mothership Core. It's like, this sounds so stupid, but you have to let the Mothership Core live.
Yeah.
Because if it lives, you can't build a second one, and he's going to be at 0 energy. If it dies, he rebuilds it, and then it starts at 50 energy, so it's a lot sooner for the next Photon Overcharge. So you let it live, but you force the Overcharge and you try to pick off the sentries. Okay, cool. Then you go DT. He may very well not have an Observer there, and you win.
Yeah, he's pumping Immortals out,
Yeah, but if he does have the Observer out, you just pull back, and you've gone 4-gate, and you go do an all-in with an Archon to break down his force fields, and then you just sort of crush him with Zealot Archon at the front. This is a really common play. That's actually kind of annoying to hold off if they do it like that. But I mean, the blink just fell apart. So State's leading 2-0, looking really just unbelievably solid in PvP.
Certainly. You know what would be neat? Something that we might see later on as PvP continues to develop? The idea of killing your own Mothership Core.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, if you're up against a 4-gate and you throw down the Photon Overcharge, you should immediately kill your Mothership Core. It's one of the easiest ways to defend 4-gates is to just continuously throw down Photon Overcharge and then kill your Mothership Core.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. But that was weird in pretty much every respect. But every now and again you have a game like that. That's just the case of it. And now we have State in a really solid position going here onto Belshire Vestige. He is in the red trunks, and he is playing Protoss to the southeast. Versus his opponent, it is ROOTMinigun to the northwest position in the blue trunks, also playing Protoss. Now, Minigun has stated that he is not that comfortable in this matchup at all. And as a direct result, I think, you know, we're seeing a lot of confidence here from State. State is playing a nice defensive style, and it's working absolutely fine. Minigun's trying things here and there. He was definitely a lot closer on the first game to winning it, and you know, that game was just kind of it was a misread, I guess, an odd decision that just didn't pay off. So Minigun has to go back into this game just with a fresh head and just say, right, well, that was dumb. Let's not do that again.
Yeah, I mean, it could very well have just been a misread, like in the last game to have said, okay, well, I saw him preemptively set stalkers all over the place to defend against air. And we did see State do that in that game. But State also sent out the not the Chrono Boost, the hallucinated Oracle to check out the main base and to see stuff. So, I mean, Minigun may have seen that Oracle float in and gone, oh, God, just tapped out.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to see inside the mind of the players. You often have to just ask them in an interview, and after they've lost the series, they're definitely not in the mood for that.
Yeah.
I remember the legend. There is a legend of StarCraft 2, by the way, which emphasizes the point that you never, ever, ever interview the loser. And that was at an event in Italy called the Ultimate Gaming Championship, where Cloud lost against Hazawubs and was, for some inexplicable reason, brought on stage to talk immediately after the loss about why that actually happened. Oh, we had a little bit of lag there. There we go. Okay, that's been sorted out. Oh, anyway, yes. Well,
what did Cloud say on stage?
He said Protoss is bullshit, I believe, and various other interesting things. Right, while standing right next to Hazawubs, I might add.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I remember in the early IEM days, they'd like bring the loser on stage and Take Sen. You don't know Take Sen of Take TV runs the amazing Home Story Cup and Team Story Cup.
Very much do.
Oh yeah, I mean I know you do because you casted for it. But
hopefully these guys do because it's a great tournament.
Oh yeah, but Take Sen would be up there and be like, "So Morrow, you're eliminated from the tournament," and then you just hold the mic to Morrow's mouth. Morrow would be like, "Yeah, I feel horrible." And he'd be like, "So what do you do now that you've been eliminated?" And he's like, "I drink." And Sen's like, "Okay." And Takes Sen turns to the other guy and he's like, "All right, so you won." Holds the mic. Your opponent will be drinking soon. What do you think about that?
Take has improved his interview technique significantly since then, I must say. He's also been put in these awkward positions. Like, I think if the organizers tell you, right, you've got to go interview the loser, and then you have to just do that, then there's really not a lot that you can do. There's no way you're making that not awkward.
Yeah, I mean, I am exaggerating Take Sen's interview technique. He did a fine job interviewing, but I do not want to under-exaggerate how awkward it was.
Yeah. Oh, it was. Now, State is changing things up. He's actually going to go for a Stargate build this time around.
Cool opening. He has effectively done the exact same basic framework setup as the other build.
Yeah.
He's gone for the sentry first. He's sending the probe out. If there's any scout, it could be very easy to confuse it for an early expand, but he's going to be opening Phoenixes. Should not be an Oracle opening. There's the Phoenix going down right now.
Ooh, State just missed the proxy pylon going down there. It would be really nice to spot that one.
He should be okay, but the mothership core is a little bit delayed. He should have already had photon overcharge up.
Yeah, he does have a sentry, so he will at least be able, unless he makes a mistake, be able to prevent this from going down. Minigun's trying to bait the force field pretty hard here. And he's actually just going to shoot the sentry, which would not be a good thing at all. Mothership cores then let them both in. Lost the sentry. Not a good position.
Fantastic. What a fantastic force field right there by State. And he traps the two stalkers up on the high ground. The Phoenix is out. The mothership core guaranteed to fall. Oh, a terrible idea by State. He should not be throwing down that photon overcharge. Excuse me, that time warp. He needs to save it for photon overcharge.
Yeah, absolutely right. And looked a bit dicey for a second there, but you're totally right. State absolutely force fielded correctly. And it's going to be this weird position where it's Phoenix versus Phoenix now, but State actually has significantly more. The thing is, the lifts will help him a lot here.
Yep, he's going to sack the Zealot to pick off the two Stalkers. Fair trade.
Force him back. Totally. He even actually kept the Zealot alive, which is a little bit lucky. Minigun could have clearly killed that. Phoenix versus Phoenix. I've seen this position in PvP before, and it usually favors the guy with the more Phoenix. I know it sounds really, really obvious, but there's not really a lot that you can do in that situation. I have seen players go for a second Stargate behind it because it's not what the opponent expects. State now has a good amount of map control and momentum, as well as harass potential now, though.
State is being very responsible about making sure his Phoenixes are never going in naked. It's very easy to think that you're scouting with Phoenixes, and then to mess up and lose all your Phoenixes to their Phoenixes, such as right here.
Yeah, that's kind of like that. Yeah, that's not good. That was a good start there for Minigun, though, certainly. He does have slightly more Stalkers. There are a couple more Phoenixes in now. The proxy pylon is put into place. The Zealot will now... it was a different Zealot. The injured one is still fighting, but that won't be for long. He's going to be an Immortal soon. And State is able to pick off one Phoenix, looking to try and take another, but he loses another Phoenix in the process here. Time Warp goes down. Double Lift comes in. And he's just got enough to make this work. He needs to warp in more units, though. There's no question about that. We need to see another wave. Minigun GG's again!
3-0!
What?
Wow! This is the exact thing we saw in the last series. A starting 3-0 victory.
Can Minigun pull this back? Now, we are in a situation where Minigun has already pulled back. It was a 2-0 into a 3-2 reverse sweep. But this is 3-0 in PvP. This is the most comfortable position State could possibly be in.
Wow, what a... I mean, that's been a real treat. I mean, we talked about this in the Kane Gosu user matchup, that the full gamut has been shut down. Long-term play, State, with an unusual style, decimating the entire army of Minigun. Game 2, you have a rush, no problem. State has a complete shutdown prepared for that. Game number 3, different strategy, changing it up. Minigun, also trying to change up his strategy, gets shut down when they're basically doing the same framework, both going for Fast Phoenix. I mean, this is just an appallingly bad spot for Minigun.
Yep. It's terrible. And it's going to be very, very hard to come back from. It's going to require a state of mind. It may even require psychic abilities. And I don't know whether or not Minigun's psychic abilities are honed that well. Oh, dear. Man, what an ugly position for him to be in. If anyone could do it, it will be him. But State just looks rock solid. And as we've also seen, State is great at dealing with unexpected stuff. So if that ends up happening here, and Minigun decides, right, this is the way I get back into this by doing something risky, you know, kind of Gosu user style of doing it, then I think State will be totally fine. He has repeatedly shut that kind of nonsense down, and I don't know. This could be a 4-0 sweep. We might very well see an early end to this bracket here.
Yeah, I mean, truth be told, the entire core of PvP early game is those timing pushes.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw Minigun do it twice in a row, force the photon overcharge. You expect it. It's part of all build orders are these attacks. And Minigun do it twice in a row, force the photon overcharge. You expect it. It's part of all build orders are these attacks. And that sort of really, really nice counter swing from State is the sort of thing that you really should be prepared for if you're Minigun. You shouldn't be shocked to run into a Phoenixing player. I mean, certainly when you do those sorts of pushes, trying to get up the ramp, I mean, I don't even really see what the goal is. It's almost preferable to stay at the bottom of the ramp.
Yeah, because, you know, if you're an idiot like me, you think that that's a bad force field. If you're a smart person like you think that that's a good force field. And says, oh, look, yeah, I've segmented off 2 Stalkers and the reinforcements can't come in, so we can't get that critical mass that allows him to break my defense while not losing his offensive units. And State handled that really, really nicely.
Yeah, I mean, that was really great. It's easy to go, oh, and like force field and be like, nothing got up the ramp, yeah, but instead, like, I mean, I think that was like perfect, just getting 2 Stalkers up there. Yeah. I mean, weird fact, a Mothership Core beats a Stalker in a one-on-one.
Yeah, which you wouldn't think it would, but Stalkers are really bad at shooting things. Incredibly bad at it, actually. I'm very surprised they're still part of the Protoss army. You know, even Dragoons were better at it.
Oh, man, you just said positive things about Dragoons, man. That feels bad for the Stalkers.
They weren't good at anything else. You know, if they could actually get into position, then they were fantastic, but that would rarely happen. It's like herding cats.
Oh, man. TotalBiscuit.
Here we
Let's
are.
introduce them players.
Let's do that. Might be for the final time today, man. This could be a short cast indeed, but as we've seen in this tournament, that's not that likely. To the southwest position in the Red Trunks playing Protoss. His name is
State,
who now has a personal sponsorship, actually. Should point that out. You can see it at the top of the screen. He is sponsored by Gamefront, which is really cool because he's a teamless player, and it's always nice to see those personal sponsorships going down. versus his opponent, who, funnily enough, also has a personal sponsorship that I should mention. It's not on his little board there, but I will talk about it in a minute. His name is
ROOTMinigun.
And he is personally sponsored by PlanetSide 2, the same guys that sponsor Axiom.
Right
Very cool.
on.
Yeah, they obviously have a lot of money to throw away when it comes to that. It's really cool to actually see Sony supporting a different game. That's unusual. Doesn't happen all that often, but I think it shows a nice bit of fan support. I mean, it helps that like half the PlanetSide team is religiously into competitive StarCraft, so I guess that's why.
Well, I mean, it's nice because it's actually true to the nature of gamers, you know? Like,
yeah. Gamers don't just play one game.
Yeah, I mean, like, no one does this with moviegoers, you know? It's not like you go see Star Trek and someone's like, wait, you saw Star Trek? But I thought you watched Inception. Aren't you loyal to Inception? It's like, you know, it's really recognizing the fact that, you know, if you love one game, then there's a strong chance you love a lot of games. So, so good on him.
Absolutely. Very happy to see that. Minigun, of course, happy to see that for his bank account. Always nice to have, but he's definitely not happy about this series. 3-0 down already. Puts him in a tough mental spot. No question about that. He's getting nasty flashbacks to his series against Life, where, of course, he went out of Dallas 3-0. But now he's in a PvP, a volatile matchup indeed. State just seems to have a handle on HOTS PvP in a way that Minigun doesn't.
Yeah, and in a sense, it's a very jagged feel of volatility. A lot of the early attacks, like the ones that we've been seeing, if you have the right defense off, you completely hold it off and you're fine.
Yeah.
If you miss a force field, you die immediately and want to kill yourself. It's not quite the feel of... Well, I guess I would say that the reason it's sort of jagged is that there comes a point where players start to say, well, okay, I'm not going to take that risk and go up the ramp because I know there's a huge potential loss. I'll just apply pressure and back off. So when you get to this level, you actually start to see the consistency of state really shine through, where suddenly all those jagged, high variance, high loss spots are gone. They completely eliminate, and suddenly we get to see cool things like this happen. Minigun hiding the Twilight Council. It looks like it's going to be a Dark Shrine.
Yep.
State hiding the Stargate. On this map, I actually think an Oracle is correct.
Yes, it would be. If DTs come down in particular, that would be wonderful. It gives you so many options, and it does give you that detection. We will see a Dark Shrine. There it is. No question about that. No reason to hide it otherwise. State gets limited information. He does know the 2 gas is down. He does know about gateways there, and it's going to be 4-gate Dark Templar.
Wow. You know, this is a map that's very difficult to go Phoenix on. Look at the ridge of State's base. Big, wide-out, spread, expansive ridge. Tons of places to blink up.
Yep.
Extremely difficult to defend if a player blinks up into your base. So he is going Phoenixes. And he's not scout... well, I guess he is sending out that...
Proxy Oracle.
That Oracle,
yeah,
but...
the hallucinated Oracle, but he's going Phoenix behind that. This is a pretty big map. This might not actually even get there. Who knows? It's on its way across, but it might actually get shut down by Minigun Stalker here. No, looks like he's going to end up letting it in. Okay, this information is interesting. He sees 4 gates. He sees nothing else. He's like, where is your gas?
He should be instantly building an Oracle right now. He should recognize he sees no expansion. He needs to get the Oracle right now. You should expect that. That's a 7-minute warp gate.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just look at the number. You got to look at the time.
Let's see if he gets an Oracle. He's not building an Oracle, man. He's going Robo. This is the wrong decision, in my opinion.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Looks like he's starting to maybe surmise. Blink into you! Let's the ramp get broken! Oh! Look at that force field!
Oh my god, Minigun! You smart son of a bitch. Look at that. He brings an Oracle and it shoves the Oracle into the force field. And now, what on earth is going to happen? Huge amounts of lifts here from State, but he is holding this incredibly well.
Wow. I mean, that was such a play from Minigun, but State's cleverly not building a lot of sentries. Very typical of Phoenixing players. He's building a lot of Stalkers and Zealots instead. Hang in there, TV.
It'll be okay. It's looking all right. Everything's fine. We've got State now in a good defensive position. He has an Oracle coming out now. He's warping in Zealots. going for a run-by here. Minigun is committed to 4-gate pressure at the front. There is, however, no sentry, which means that this army is going to get up there, and it's going to certainly do something. State is looking to try and get that reveal on there. He immediately spots it. Down goes the photon overcharge. Phoenix has come in with the Zealots. This is looking like a 4-0 right here.
And look, there's the Phoenixes show up. They're going to be lifting probes one at a time. This puts the clock on them. This says you can keep attacking, but this game has a time limit on it. You either win it in a few minutes or end it in a few minutes. And oh, one pylon to power them all!
Oh, dear God. Another Oracle goes down here. Minigun is continuing to be aggressive. This pylon will be shot down. Artosis is crying in his bed right now. All 4 of these gateways shut down. This is it. There is no chance now for Minigun to come back into this. Surely he loses again on the defense. All of the gateways are unpowered. The Zealots destroy the economy. State will take 4-0 in a ridiculously convincing PvP display. And State, after going back to school, after just throwing in the towel with StarCraft 2, comes back in Heart of the Swarm and will now go to New York for the Grand Finals.
It's going to have to do some really swift last-minute prep. ZVP, not Kane's strongest matchup. State, not his strongest matchup either. Going to be interesting to see these players playing it out for your #1 prize of 4K under that circumstance. But man, what mind-blowingly impressive PvP. Consistent across all fronts. Late game, varying builds, varying situations, defense, offense, just incredible job.
That was awesome. That was really, really good PvP there from State. I was so excited to actually see that Archon trick. I don't think I've ever seen that done before. Of course, you morph an Archon and they break the shield, but a morphing Archon also breaks the shield if you shove that Archon using the, well, just the shoving ability, I guess. That's all you can really call it. You move your units in there, you push it up. That was awesome, but it didn't work. It was great, but again, it did not work. The DTs got shut out. It gave enough time to State to not only build the Oracle, but then to get the Robo up as well. And then that great decision to bring in those 3 Phoenix and 3 Zealots after he realized, yeah, I can hold this, and if I shut him down, he is done. He will not be able to respond to that.
Yeah, that's one of the best strategies that you can have, or actually just one of the best plays that you pick up with the Phoenix openings. That you almost want to be the defender and you want your opponent to be attacking, because then you just go to his base every like 15 seconds, pick up a probe, kill it. Pick up another probe, kill it. And then, you know, in those minute-long engagements, they go back home and they have no units mining gas and they're down to just 13 probes, and it's very, very, very easy for the aggressor to fall apart. It's exactly what we saw. The Zealots were just an extra little bonus that he put in there. I mean, super excited to see this PvZ final.
Yeah. It's going to be a good one, man. It really, really is. And I think it's cool to see that it's between 2 players that have not really had a chance to actually shine in HOTS yet. Now, State, a player that performed well in America but dropped off the map for a while, went to Korea, then went back to school, then came back. Kane, a monster, as we are well aware, hyped by everybody but yet to show real results. Now they both get the chance to face off in the MLG studio.
Certainly going to be some fireworks there. I mean, Kane, as Minigun said, Kane also has the burden of trying to get a little revenge.
Yeah.
Yep.
5 Root players enter this tournament. 1 Root player is left. That's a Root massacre going on right there. Oh well.
Wow.
That was fun.
That was a blast. I enjoyed that thoroughly. An amazing ZVZ series. A really convincing PvP series.
Yes, absolutely. You can't really call 4-0 a coin flip as far as I'm concerned. State had absolutely all the cards in that series. Minigun tried different things and wasn't able to make it work. And State is looking like a really strong all-rounder, but what we have not seen from him in this tournament is his PvZ. He has not played a single Zerg player. He has only played PvTs and PvPs. So this could be very interesting indeed.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah. That's where we are. We are here. We have reached the grand final stage. That is going to be happening in a few days. We will make sure to update you exactly when it's going to be. We currently believe it's going to be on the 21st of May, before WCSNA round of 16, and it will be at 3 p.m. EDT. However, that is subject to change. We will keep you posted. Please keep an eye on Liquipedia and, of course, the website over at ShoutCraft, and we will tweet about it as well. I will co-cast with Axslav. We will be in the MLG studio. You can praise the heavens. There will be a dedicated observer, so you won't have my fuck-ups ruining the tournament for you. So please, by all means, do tune in for the final. It is going to be great. I'd like to thank all of you. We had like 28,000 people on the stream here today, which is fantastic, especially considering it's a ZVZ and a PvP, and we had technical problems. So I'm very pleased that you guys have been patient enough to ride this out. And of course, big thanks to everyone involved in this tournament. Co-casters, which of course included Day9, the legend himself, co-casting not 1 but 2 days. Thank you very much for that, Sean.
Absolute pleasure.
We also, of course, had Husky, we had Greg Idra Fields, we had Frodan coming out of the ether. He is not dead. He is very much alive and casting actively. And I believe there was actually one more caster, and I feel really, really bad for forgetting who that was.
Rotterdam.
Rotterdam, yes. There we go. The other NASL caster. Yes, he did a great job there. So very, very big thanks to all of those. Of course, you guys all did this and gave up your time, so it's very much appreciated. Thank you for supporting the American scene. Big thanks to Jenna, of course, for organizing and being the brains behind this entire thing. So she is, of course, the reason that this has happened in the first place. Big thanks to Zook for his graphic design and Brum for the intro and break assets that were used for this particular tournament. And, of course, big thanks to the players who have put on a great show so far. Now we are down to 2. We will see whether or not Kane or State will come